Thank you for joining me for AfroEconomics Live. It is Wednesday night. What's the date? June 24th, 2020. And we're talking about Black businesses and how to actually help our Black businesses have the opportunity or have the encouragement or have the insight or get some advice about how they can continue to move forward through this pandemic. I was invited. One of the members shared with me that some Congress people were doing a discussion last week about wealth development in the Black business, the Black community, and it was all Black people on the panel, and they were political people, and then they had a couple of business nonprofit people, but they did not have one entrepreneur on the panel. So whenever you see something being held about having a business or starting a business or doing business, and there's no entrepreneur involved in it, don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your money. Another criteria, and I see a lot of this going on, like they'll say, like, this is a $2,000 workshop, but you can attend for just an online $200 or $300. I have yet to see how they can justify doing that when, if I add up all of you together, they might have like, say, 30 people. They haven't even been in business long enough for them to know what it's like to go through even a recession. So I am thankful for you giving me this opportunity to feel that my life, my pain, my struggle, my challenges, my achievements, where I am today will not go in vain, because this is an opportunity for me to share everything that I've been through, because we need to talk more about two people that have actually been through things so that you can get through it. That's where knowledge comes in. Anybody can talk about it, but you want to focus and spend your time with people who know exactly what they did to get through not a recession, but the Great Recession. How did J.B. Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics, continue to survive through what is called the Great Recession? And how did an investment firm survive through 9/11, which caused the stock market to be closed down? Why are we still here? That's what you want. That's what you deserve. And if somebody cares about you, why would you have to pay for that? That is the least that I can do, is make sure that you know what I did. Because I know if nobody knows what they did, that's going to work for you. They can just tell you what they did. I was enjoying an interview last night that Mike was watching on, I think, PBS, and like, he watches like intelligent television. So I started watching it. It's a story about Toni Morrison. And I was like, wow, I would have never, ever come upon that. But look, it's like, thankfully, look, God has blessed me with someone to watch television with that watches intelligent television. So the Toni Morrison bio, she was actually talking about her experience as a Black female, as a Black professional in a male-dominated environment. And she talked about our environment, like when she went to college, and how we separated from each other, and how we set up these sororities for the light skin and the dark skin. And it was just so good to hear her talk about our community. And that's what I hope, that one day this discussion, what we're talking about tonight, that what we're saying will be that valuable. How valuable her insight, like she was saying, it's like she was saying things that I've experienced, and that she was saying, like, why should I have to justify to people that I've committed my life to writing about my community? our experiences, our history, our life, that and she was, talking about like, how can we set up organizations or set up schools that are focused on us, and they don't focus on us in building up our culture. And that's what I've always felt about Afroeconomics. And I have talked to several organizations that are designed to serve us, the Black business, but they don't focus on the Black business. And instead, they start chasing whatever is marketable. Oh, if it's women that are hot, or if this that's hot, if this is hot, or whatever, they don't focus on truly what their purpose was. The initial, what you started with. And that's the thing. Afroeconomics is based on principles, and the seventh of which is entrepreneurship. And the principles don't change. Like Money Mayweather said, numbers don't lie. Principles don't lie. That's what we're all about. Family, legacy. God is at the center of it. Your health. But entrepreneurship is what we're talking about tonight. And the registration for tonight, I was so impressed, because when I said I'm going to talk about business, I wonder if people are really going to respond to it, because most of you work somewhere. The fact that you participated, even though you don't own your own business, says so much, about your character and your commitment to the community. Andrew, we have like over 40 people, and what, maybe 10 of you, have your own business. I see you, Bridget and John, got your own tutoring company, and they focus on helping our children. And thank God for them helping mine. Mr. Bozeman consulting firm, but some of you are like, a lot of you are like Ms. Ramadan, who has her own interests, even though she is working, but she has her own business that she's building, and we work on that when we have our meetings. And that's important to do. But we have to really accept that the number of our businesses have gone down a lot. And with this Corona situation, we, may indeed see even less businesses. And when I started my business in 1995, we could have a business meeting, and, fill up huge rooms of just Black businesses, Black business owners with employees and, support staff and sales staff and, everything. And we have not gotten back to that area. And as I was saying, that we have organizations that receive government grants and government funding that's designed to support our businesses. I have sat in the room, listened to the president of organizations, national Black organizations, tell me about how many businesses that they had that went out of business. How in the world could you have been hired to be an example and an inspiration to me when you cannot even make your own work? Now, if your conversation were that you sold your business to someone else, but you blatantly are telling me that you ran your business into the ground, that everybody that worked for you lost jobs, that you didn't set up a strategy you're not even telling me what you should have done differently. And this has happened to me over and over. So what I'm saying to you, be very careful who you go and get your advice from, who you talk to. At least 90% of what I hear throughout the day is people telling me about advice that they respect that is not valid. Not from people that are licensed, not from people that are regulated, not from people that have experience in what they're talking about, not from people that have any, information on their particular challenge. It's really sad. And we're taking the advice from them. as if we're like watching, it's like watching the news and you're getting your business idea from a reporter who's just telling you a story. No, so that's the benefit of our conversations, especially our individual conversations. So I can help you throw to the side what's garbage, what's real, what we should keep, what we should investigate, what we should research farther, and what's just a straight, blatant lie. There's a whole bunch of that, especially when it comes to business and it comes to grants and what's free money and what you can get and who's going to help you start a business. So many times you get these things, these suggestions, these ideas, that, oh, do this or you should have done that, and it's not what you thought that you didn't even miss out on anything because it was not what you thought it was. And so let's talk about these loans. Like, what is your opinion on business owners saving themselves from a national tragedy, with a payroll protection program? I guess, yes or no, do you think that the payroll protection program works? Do you think that it's going to work? The Twyla says it is because folks listen to the loud sounds, exactly, especially those that have the overnight success stories. Yeah, and there is absolutely no such thing as an overnight success story. Like one day I'm going to be on national news and somebody out there is going to say, wow, that's JB Bryan. I had no idea. Like, wow, like they're going to think like I just started. Just like people that, see me on regional television on CBS in Virginia, and they think, that I just started that this is some sort of opportunity that just came to me. Well, they don't know that I've been doing television from the day I became an investment advisor. My first boss as a stockbroker, before I even knew what I was doing, he asked me, hey, you've got graduate degrees in communications. Would you consider doing this? We need to get someone on television. And hence it started. And that's where it started from. Never thought. So there is no overnight, success. And before that, it started in high school when I worked at my first television station. And in college when I worked in radio. So there's no such thing. Like Twyla says, that is what they want you to think, right? That is what you want. So Mr. Bozeman says that we're in relation to that payroll protection program, not for small businesses. Big companies are taking advantage. Now, Twyla says, I want to believe that it works, but how can small business owners fund such an item? They don't have to, fund the item. That's the point, that they're funding the item for the small business. But here's the kicker, like Mr. Bozeman is saying, and he does, business consulting, professional consulting, spent, many years in corporate America. He's seen this over and over. I'm sure he would say that. I can say that without even asking him, that he's seen this over and over. That this program is designed to protect people who have a payroll, that they don't want to avoid these people having to go on unemployment. So in the government's attempt to protect itself, because remember, it's giving out $600 extra each week. So if they can get it directed towards the boss, right? They get it at the top of the company, then all of a sudden they don't have to, pay so much unemployment, because these employers are able to bring them back to work, hypothetically. But what is happening? Well, the banks decided, because the government decided, that they are going to distribute the loans through banks. Through banks. So what happens when a banking system that doesn't deal business with small business anyway? They don't do, we walk in the bank, they're not worried about us. Like, okay, nice, open up a new account, next, right? But when banks think about commercial, think about business customers, they want you to do loans. They want you to do your payroll direct deposit through them. They want you to do, 500 employees, payroll deposits going into their bank, everything. They want you to have a commercial property and loan. These are the customers. They said it, admitted it. We are going to take care of our customers that have a relationship with us first. That's it. I mean, and the government decided that it was okay for them to do that. They said, well, that's how you do it. So then they came out, and I said this to a nonprofit that asked me to speak about business and coronavirus. And I said, these PPP program, and this was at the beginning, was not designed for Black business, because if it were designed for Black business, it would not require payroll, because the overwhelming majority, and I'm talking like more than 90% of Black businesses do not have a payroll. So if it's connected to a payroll requirement, then you're not talking to me, right? If they would say, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to put it inside of suntan lotion, you're not talking to me, right? You're not talking to me. I'm going to put a magic spray, but it's only going to be in people who have to blow dry their hair every morning. You're not talking to me. Well, that's what you did when you decided that the criteria for getting the small business help were for one, people with 500 or fewer. That's a big business. That's a big small business. So they said 500 or fewer employees, so they wanted to take care of the big stuff first. And then they act shocked. They act shocked when the money was gone, right? They act shocked like, oh, okay, the money's run out. And they said, oh, we're gonna do some more. And then, so my argument is, if you indeed want to help the Black business, then you would have allowed at least for them to get the loan directly from the Small Business Association, from having branches that you open up for your small business development centers right there. Just like you set up all these little camps to swab and check for the virus, you would have set it up where even in major banks, that this is our SBA office, so that these small businesses that really need this can come in here and make sure that they continue to function, right? Exactly. Mr. Bozeman said, this is because Congress did not do their due diligence. Exactly. They did not do anything. And to think that we have a congressional, you said it too. I commented on this with the Congressional Black Caucus months ago. Yes, they acted as like they did did not see this loophole. It's so sad. Just like the other panel that they had the other night with the person over the Congress Finance Committee and this and that. And they did not, Mr. Bozeman, they didn't see the loophole. They did not see the loophole because what? They have absolutely no entrepreneurs involved in what they do. So if you want to know about small business, then you have to allow some small businesses to get in. But what do? They bring in Magic Johnson. That's cool, but seriously, that is not a small business. I mean, like, That is outright. Then they bring in, the other guy, Robert Smith, the like multi-billionaire with a hedge fund. And while they were interviewing him about black businesses trying to get the money, and the man, you could tell he was saying, like, I don't know what they're going to do to get the money to them because they don't really qualify. They don't even meet the criteria. He just wanted to say it in a really nice way. But we don't. They would have to change the criteria if you truly wanted to help the black business owner. So look, Mr. Bozeman said Harvard University was one of the first applicants to get the loan. It's amazing to me. Nonprofits, churches, schools, are getting, it's almost like the government, like giving money to itself. And then when they give it to a nonprofit, then you're giving it to an entity that never paid any money into this. And the saddest part, like I was saying last week about the police brutality, when they do these settlements, that we as taxpayers are the people who have to pay it back. And that's the sad part, that we don't realize who's going to have to pay this money back. The same people who did not get it. And who are the people who will be punished the most because the government gave away all of this money and did not help our businesses stay in business? We will, because they'll cut back funding. If we don't get a real congressional Black caucus and get a voice, and that's why AfroEconomics is so important. And every time you go in and you attend something like this and you don't sign up for at least my free membership, you are hurting everyone. Because I can say that we have big numbers when we have big numbers. Our membership should be well past 1,000. That is ridiculous. So we have free membership in a program that is trying to do things to help us economically have a voice. And we are, thank you, Mr. Montgomery, and we are like totally neglecting it. And when we have young brothers like Mr. Montgomery sacrificing money every month, money for their entrepreneurship membership so that they can build a business to help us. But I don't understand like how we think that we're going to develop a voice unless we take advantage of things that actually are doing right by you and doing a voice, when it doesn't cost you anything to sign up for the free membership of AfroEconomics. And I would say 30% of those of you who are looking at me right now have not signed up for the No Excuse membership so that you can do our Friday morning class, which is about rebalancing. Helping you, rebalancing. I don't see anybody else, no other entity on the planet, and I'm not a nonprofit. I have to pay taxes. And I'm still serving us. Nothing, and I haven't taken any money from the government. I don't owe them nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this because my family is sacrificing. I'm sacrificing so that we can do this. And we have to build together a voice that can say to the Congressional Black Caucus, when they do things like that, that AfroEconomics is gone. Like, I'm not going to live always, but AfroEconomics can live forever based on what we, as the founding participants, create out of this. Yes, and Alicia says they are far removed from the average American life, that they cannot, they can't be efficient. It's so true. They sat there and looked at that and had no idea. They don't even think about talking to anybody like us about it. Because what? I'm dangerous. Because I'm actually giving something to my community. Because I'm not trying to rob you and then at the end say, oh, look, send me money on my Cash App. Here it is. It's like, I'm actually doing this for us to have a voice because I'm tired of us being exploited. We at some point have to unite. Our only solution is solidarity. We have to have a collective voice that we want to have wealth, that we want to not go out of business. I want AfroEconomics to be able to help people when they have their businesses and they're going out of business, be able to come to AfroEconomics because we have our venture capital set up so that they can talk to you about investing in their company. We have to do that. We have to develop solidarity. We are only strong when we act together, not separately. Exactly, Mr. Bozeman. And there's nobody trying to do it. Every time it's some sort of, if you want to do this, then you got to do $300. If you're going to do this, then you have to do that. There's a lot of people who just don't have the money, but they still want to help. And that's what we have to do. But I will tell you one thing. If you are in AfroEconomics, paying or not, you will get out of it way more than what you're putting into it. But if not, I will make sure that you get every dime back. Because there is no way I am trying to get among the list of people who have taken advantage of us. That I don't even want my name. So let's put that. I should put it on my website. I guarantee you, not one speck of it. I don't even care if I don't get to eat that day. I would rather fast through it than for you to walk on this planet thinking that I exploited you. And everybody, especially the Congressional Black Caucus, should feel the same way. And when we have bad years like this, they need to be in positions to say, and I'm not even accepting my salary this year, because there's so many of us who didn't get what they did. We have a large percentage of our businesses going out of business because you allowed trillions of dollars to come out of the government. $4 trillion has been given to this economy by just the Federal Reserve. $4 trillion to support it, to keep that market up. $4 trillion. So much so that the Federal Reserve said, I can't do anything else. That has nothing to do with all this loan money that's going out there. But yet, we have to sit there and listen to them talk about why our kids right now don't all have a hot spot so that they can be keeping up with their learning during this pandemic. But you're going to make sure that these CEOs continue to make their Mercedes payment, and these people in Congress continue to live in their mansions and wear their expensive clothes, wear outfits that exceed the prices of the average, exceed their one outfit that exceeds the price of what these people are making in a year. In a year. And you walking around with your $10,000 outfits on. Mr. Montgomery says progress is made in the Black community when we consistently uplift each other, not when we are tearing each other down. Exactly. And especially not when we are raping each other. You know what I mean? Financially. We can't afford it. When you are getting in a job, especially political, and you are supporting a public policy that does not help our children eat, you are raping your own community. Oh my God. Mr. Bozeman said, the real power of AfroEconomics is in the point of the spear. You can see the power of the work and training that has prepared JB for this role. We can work with her and be assured that our aggregate cumulative power behind her can safely propel us forward as a community. Exactly. And Twyla says, but as long as we allow Congress to vote for their own raises, they're going to get raises. You're right about that. As long as when the government shuts down, it doesn't pay the employees, make them work. Exactly. But still allows Congress to get paid. Isn't it true? But don't pay but we're allowing it to happen. We're allowing it to happen. I was watching a video the other day, and it was talking about when we did the March on Washington. We had certain criteria and things that had to be done. And it was about a year later, and 70% of everything that Martin Luther King marched for, 70% had not been accomplished. Had not been accomplished. Now, I don't know exactly what it was, but I bet it still hasn't been accomplished today. We can't, I don't see how we think that our businesses will even survive with just whatever this little set aside money is that we don't even understand what the criteria is or how much they'll give them or what it will be based on. We cannot allow our businesses to depend on their success based on what they may or may not get. Because you can look, if you look and Google now, you'll see businesses with videos, saying that they applied the first day the loans came out and they still haven't received anything. So we know that we may not, but as a business owner, loans are not the answer. And a lot of people, I see when people say they want to start a business, but they need a loan and this and that, and they go, where are the loan programs and, things like they just don't exist. And the businesses in America that make it, you look back, like if you were able to look inside. Now, if you could look inside the businesses that have made it, they did not start from an SBA loan. I bet I couldn't even find one of the S&P 500 that were started by a SBA loan. Look, they might have like been started by like a government contract, because I heard that Microsoft got a lot of government business and government support and helped them do a lot of their research and actually helped them like even finance basically Windows. But Mr. Bozeman said that's true, but they don't like. It's about us getting access to capital through people who have money. Through people who have money. My business is still small because I did not have anybody to help me start my business. So I have zero debt, but I also I am not at the volume that I should be. Because if I could do anything that I would do, I would have like $1 million. I would hire 10 people and I would have someone over every different section that I need them over. But I would have to find those investors for that $1 million. And then I would have someone over AfroEconomics. I mean, I would still do what I do, but they would be over all of the intricacies, making sure you had all your appointments and everything. Like, this is how you build and scale a business and make it bigger and make it bigger. But if we don't have the loans, don't do that. The little $10,000 for payroll ain't gonna do that. A little extra $20,000 ain't gonna do that. No, we need capital. We need collective effort. And that's why I want us to continue to get a better understanding of venture capital and private placements and what equity is and how to actually build businesses on our own. So I say to the business owner that I have some suggestions on how we can save our businesses. And Delicia says she has a friend who opened their own spa out of pocket because banks wouldn't give her a loan. Exactly. And she will also have these same challenges as me. Because if you go into debt and you go into a recession, like I did going into 2008, and I had lots of debt, you got to be a financial advisor and you got to know what you're doing. And that's why most people went out of business, because they don't do what I do. But I have often said, if I didn't do what I do, you wouldn't know my name today. but I had to set up a financial strategy for myself to get out of debt and still have my company. But many people, many businesses didn't see it coming. And I had to do that before it came tumbling down. You have to have foresight. And that's why I've talked last year all the time about how important it is for us to have the emergency fund. You know, if I didn't, I went and did one of the biggest projects of my career. I spent, I'm really close to $50,000 on the fest. It was absolutely free for everybody. Space, food, 3 days, marketing, radio, commercials, all this, the production, studio, all the things I had to do, equipment, new computer, the AV, the website in the space, all of that. And then we had a pandemic. And not one dime of that did I finance. If I had, that could have put me out of business, because there was nowhere in there that I projected that the next week everything would have been shut down. I vowed that I was only going to spend money that I had. But if I had known that it was going to be a pandemic, ain't no way I would have spent that. That would have been online. So as this year, I spend a lot of time on, do I want to go back to that space, or are we going to be online? Because the show must go on. And the more and more I think about it, I go, I don't know, because I saw the CEO of Marriott Hotel say, he ain't JB Bryan, this man, you talking about having capital. He got capital. And he said it's going to take them 3 years to get at full capacity of where they were pre-COVID. That's how slow people are going to come out. That's how slow the economy is going to move forward. I don't care how much the Treasury, the head of the Treasury came out today, the Treasury Secretary. He came out yesterday or today, and he was saying like, the recession should be over by the end of the year. I mean, seriously. We don't listen to them. That's what they got to do. It's an election year. It's got to sound good. He probably got a beat down in his office. You're going to go out there today and you're going to say it's going to get over quick. Well, you know what? Even if it does, and they continue to put all of this fake money into it, you know what I'm saying? And make it look and give you more stimulus checks and make people go out there and waste more money. Even if it does, we know that as our businesses, we are going to have to take time to recover. So I feel that in order for us to become recession proof, I feel that there's just some key things I think that we should do, and I'm gonna let you go. We need to create agreements as business owners. We need to create agreements with family members to raise money for your business and to learn about and talk to me about private placements, about how to, raise money and get people in your family to invest in your business. And it doesn't have to literally be in your family, but in your family, your support system. You all are family to me. So whoever feels like that to you, that believes in your business, because you might have family that doesn't believe in you or your business, but you may have family that really does. And they want to see the business move forward and they believe in the mission. So think about, how do I create agreements so that I can build my own capital, so that you can develop your own financing and building your own business? And the second point is, maybe consider, if you have a friend or you're a business owner, consider it's time to reinvent. Reinvent. Make sure that you're filling the needs that exist. We still live in an environment that has needs for things. Like, I was looking at an article and it was talking about like babies. There's always a need for baby things. There's always and when you're going into a recession, or if we indeed go into hard times, just like Michael has seen that in his business. He does like a lot of consignment things on his e-commerce website, and his business has been up. So there's in that business, e-commerce and consignment and people trying to save money, that whole area, you know what I mean, is going to continue to expand if, we indeed continue to have challenging times. And even as we go through them, even living through challenging times make you a smarter person. Because I don't do the things because I've gone through a great recession. I don't, by the way, I always appreciate saving opportunities. And then also, make sure that if things are hard, make sure that you figure out where exactly you are so that you don't lose everything. Like, we too often stay in a position that we're holding on to something that has no value. And then, am I making sense to y'all? Like, don't hold on to your business if it is already out of business. If it's not meeting the need, or the need that you have cannot be met, you need to talk to who you owe, where it is, and talk about what can I do to make sure that I don't ruin my credit, that you don't ruin your finances, that you don't, Twyla said we always need auto parts. Yes, and the more people save on cars, the more they'll buy auto parts for used cars, especially, right? But Sharon was suggesting a GoFundMe page. That's not gonna work for the level that I'm suggesting for you, unless you have like some sort of like George Floyd like connection to something really drastic. But like for us, I'm saying something where you actually get to the money that you need. Like in business, you need to accomplish this real quick. And I don't want you really putting your business out there like a GoFundMe page will require that you do. A GoFundMe, I think, could be more personal. But there is this business site that does it too, but I really still feel that is too public. I think that I was talking to a brother yesterday, and he was telling me about that he got one of those PPP loans for his barbershop. And I was thinking, you know what? I hope he's not telling anybody else this, because, sometimes people don't need to know. You know what I mean? People don't really need to know. And that we need to be careful also. And I told him, I said, be very careful, because it is payroll protected. And if you told them that you have a payroll, or that you're doing payroll, or you're doing 1099s, make sure you issue 1099s, because they are coming back to check. And even my friends that work at unemployment, they said these people who are filing and saying that they can prove their income on that 1099, they better be able to prove it, because we are coming back. So I want us to, develop relationships on how we can raise funds within your own, connection, within your own network, privately. So and then also change businesses if you have to. And my third point is, don't allow yourself to lose everything. Do not. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them. A fourth point, I want you to get more details on anything that you sign, especially if any of these loans, anything that's offered by any of these offices. Please, I know it's hard, because when you need it, you definitely don't want to get caught up in the small print. That's what we feel. But I'm telling you, some money you cannot afford to accept. So you want to be very careful. I mean, you cannot get away from owing the federal government. And you don't want to get money from somewhere and then go out of business because they have you personally connected to that. So don't think that you can go out of business, take that money, or change that name. No. That's your loan. and they want you to get it paid back. There's no getting around it. The government will own you until it's paid. Now, I'm not even exaggerating with the word own. Like, it is own. And if they have criteria that needs to be met to make it a grant, you got to watch that down to the word. And if any of that criteria you can't provide, seriously, don't play with them. Don't play with them. I got a friend, but a man that I know that he was with another friend of his, and they got into this whole, like, got a contract and the terms of the contract weren't met and all this stuff. And, one of them almost went to jail because it was a government contract and he did not meet the criteria. He might have gone to jail. I don't know how it all turned out, but one friend turned in the other friend on the other friend not doing what the government said he had to do. Woo! And then know your business assets. Know what is your business actually worth? I had a member that he was considering buying a business. And then I said, send me the paperwork. So we looked at the paperwork and I said, well, we need to see the balance sheet. And then, they never wanted to send the balance sheet. Now, how you gonna sit here and try to sell a business to somebody and we don't know what assets that we're buying? So like, those are the things that I want you to know. What are the assets of your business? Because when there's no assets there, then that's when it's like, how far, how low, how much do you have to lose before it's time for you to let it go? Don't allow, this has got to be a numbers thing. And I see people do it all the time. Like, they'll buy something and I'll tell them that you got to get out of this, like, because this is really bad. And, and then back in the last recession, there were people buying homes, financing the homes, and then the home was worth less than what they paid on the loan. So now they've been, like, say 10 years, they've been paying down the loan. And now the house is actually worth what is left on the loan, but they paid hundreds of thousands into it. They didn't even see it. So what is the value of the business? What is the brand that's involved? What are the products that your business has? What is your customer? What are your databases? What do you have? Where is the value? What have you looked at the last 2 years' tax returns? What is going on there, right? I love going through tax returns with members, personal and business, so that we can discover exactly what's going on. You would be amazed at the errors that we find or the additional things that could have helped that we find. So the best time for us to review them together is before you push the button and let them send it in. And be very conscious of the type of tax preparer that you do business with. If you're not doing it and they don't respect that you want to look at it before they push it in. I had one client that their tax preparer wanted to charge them $25 for a PDF copy of their tax return. $25. So what debts do you have as a business owner? And then look for, before, like, say you're in this situation and you feel that you need that loan, but you can't get the loan and everything is going down and it's going under, look for a buyer for your business. Is there someone else in the same business and they're doing well and there's value in your business that could help them? Sell your business. Sell it and get out. Then you can take what you make and allow yourself to regroup. And then as we get out of this, you can go back into business. And maybe even to a different business. But these are the things we have to talk through. But these are things to consider. Like, and then someone will say, well, maybe I could just get a loan. I could just get a loan. You know what I'm saying? I could just get the loan, or I could get the grant. Well, maybe it's just not enough. How much will the grant be for? How much do you have to lose while you're waiting to find out what it is for? When you're sitting down there with or calling the office to talk to them, or call the SBA, or call whoever is monitoring and helping you with this loan, what is the maximum that I could get? And what would that be based on? What is it based on? My tax, my income, or my payroll, or you know what? And if you know that this criteria, it's really not going to be enough to save you, then this is the time to look for a buyer so that you can make some money. There are people who all they do is start and sell businesses, start and sell businesses. So, you know, it's not like the worst thing in the world to make money on an asset that you have. Look for a partner. Another option to save your business. Look for a partner that's in it. Y'all can get together and try to figure out, work through these things together in partnership. Create more business. Create more business. It could be in a different type of business. It could be, but I'm telling you that going through COVID has not slowed me down. I'm working harder, smarter than ever, but the it's like, no, I keep seeing these studies and they're talking about like all of these, kids on online apps are opening up all of these online accounts. Like that's my topic next week on CBS. And I'm gonna, do a recording on, things that you have to be careful with these online app accounts. But that's where the action is. Everybody's just trying to, figure out how they can make quick money. AfroEconomics is a wealth development program. So all of my conversations are about how to make sure I stay the course. How do we stay and build? How do I increase my investment performance? How do I, so I still have to stay in my same place of staying true to what? The 10 principles. So I got to be smart and stay the course. Keep the debts down. Avoid any type of unnecessary expenses. Like I was saying, maybe the fest won't be in the building. Maybe it would be online. Maybe I don't have to wait till next year, because if it's online, we can do it in September. Smart, smarter, smarter. And my final point, before my final point, is to use technology more. Let's continue to use more technology to enhance the service, to enhance our products. Like, I just set up like this vault system because I was getting too much stuff through email. And then I asked one of our members, that she's the director of computer protection for where she works at a higher education institute. And I was like, what do you think, about this idea, that we should just be uploading instead of sending things through email? She's like, yeah, it's safer. And then I said, yep. So I set that up, but that's through COVID that kind of pushed me that we needed to have our vault system set up, right? But using technology, and that's helped me be more organized, and I can see all of your documents much easier. It's basically help me create my electronic file cabinets that we have to have, so that no matter where I am on this planet, I can see what I need to see for you. And then, finally, right? Let's think about, the loans for the pandemic. A final point, what I wanted to say is, how is the government going to recover? How do you recover from their spending fee? That's going to impact institutions. The spending spree of the government is going to impact families, who depend on government support, communities that depend on government development, employers, municipalities, federal government. They might cut back on people. We need to think about what's going to happen as they recover from this pandemic, because we're in a political season now. So it's cool for them to do this. It's because they want to make sure that, as we approach, going to the voting, that everybody's still in a good mood. So you got both sides of the aisle, yeah, let's keep everybody happy. So even if they do decide in July that they want to give out more money, what should we do with it? What should we do with it? Sharon, what do you think? Yep. And Sharon was saying about skills, making sure that we are using the technology. Yes, getting our skills set up. And I really, really do appreciate that I have push straw. Like we were doing Zoom before everybody in America started doing Zoom, right? We were doing that Zoom every Wednesday night. I appreciate you all allowing me to push you. That's what we need to be doing for each other. Y'all push me, I push you. You know what I mean? I got people in their 70s and 80s logging in with me and Zoom. And yet y'all in y'all 60s, y'all think y'all grown. You're not. Like, you know what I'm saying? You are young. Like, the AfroEconomics is to bring us to that next level, Jimmy. So make sure that we continue to push each other. And if there is any skill that you need, that you get it. You deserve it. You deserve it. But we got to prepare ourselves on this, because I believe that the Black community that is receiving the actual lowest percentage of this, probably going to be like $8 trillion that is going to be spent in 2020. We're getting the lowest percentage of it collectively. I don't even care that, because it's going to be skewed that, you have the highest percentage of people that are on unemployment are Black. So we're going to figure out of that most of the money that was done during this time was, because how unfortunately too many politicians try to make us feel like the Black community is some sort of weight on them. So then you have the white men in corporate America that will say things like they said to me, in this PhD class, that what are we going to do about these Black people that are pulling on the government system with welfare? And then this one, and where are the men? As if they don't know about the over-criminalization and how much money they're making off the criminal system of locking up Black men for unnecessary spending way too much time in prison under their own research that says the same crime for a Black man receives way more time for that same crime. So where is he? He's busy working for you for 20 and 30 cents an hour in the prison. 20 and 30 cents an hour. So we have to know the facts. And the woman who is left after her family is destroyed for him being either shot in the back or the knee on the neck or put into prison or just being drained out from just frustrated, and that she's on the lowest wages possible. We dominate minimum wage, but we have a congressional Black caucus that has decided that it's not important to convert from a minimum wage that has not been adjusted for inflation, and that we can have the minimum wage. And then you want to talk about is when you subsidize a little teeny bit, because that it would take probably 100 years for the government subsidies to equal what has been given out in this 1 year to banks and to support business and to support, to support business and banks. And that's it. Almost $8 trillion. That is amazing. And I'm gonna say, so what could happen out of this? And we're not getting the money. And we have to be careful. Low wages. So we got to go for this. We got to get the living wage or our wealth is not going to go up. Less funding to our schools. We know that there is a direct connection to our schools have to be good. We have to get the technology. We have to have the options and the hope in our schools, or the wealth gap will never go away. We're going to have out of this less healthcare coverage, because they're not, and we're going to have more out of pocket, and we're going to have higher healthcare premiums. people still don't have health care coverage. But you're giving out $8 trillion. And then higher interest rates, you know, higher interest rates on education loans, on SBA loans, any government loan, they're going to go and get that interest back. And then on their bonds, they'll pay more money back to the institutions that they just helped stay in business. And then they'll buy the bonds and they'll receive that interest. And then, I want y'all to just think about this. How are we going to be impacted by the overspending and the over subsidizing that is now going on that nobody's talking about? Think about it, y'all. So you keep hitting me in the face and telling me that Black businesses aren't getting the money. And you know that the unemployment, if our incomes are lower, then the money that we're getting from unemployment is lower. And then the government 600 is probably going to stop. That is the only thing that is equal, because the other part of the loan, the unemployment is based on the income, and our incomes are lower on average. So this is the education equity, Ms. Ramadan says, yes, for all young people. And if you're living in an area and they're not doing it, if we're in it, we're moving into an environment where our schools are not going to get the federal government support. So if you're in a county where they pay a lot of taxes and everything, it really won't matter as much. Like, if you go to a school like Harvard, University of Virginia, these schools that have huge foundations, if federal support stops or has to cut back, it really won't matter as much, because they can still do what they got to do, because they get a lot of corporate support, and the government has done everything they can to keep these large corporations in business. So that's where their money will come from. But that won't apply to our neighborhoods that are predominantly Black. It won't apply. That won't apply to the schools where the kids that don't have that money to have had all those privileges to get the academic support to get in these schools that it doesn't matter what the federal government pulls back. But it will matter if they stop giving support to kids that really need those grants for education so that they can go to school. That's because they'll have to pull it back, because they've been giving trillions and trillions of dollars to businesses and to help, everybody else. But, you'll think that you're sitting there like, oh, these people, they need to just get themselves together. Why doesn't anybody ever say that to, corporate America? Get yourself together. Regroup. Maybe you should sell your business, like the kind of advice that I have to give my people. Why don't we give them that business? Why don't they tell them that? You know what? We're not going to subsidize you anymore. Pull yourself up and you get yourself together, because we're going to help people that actually deserve to be helped, because you don't pay them equally anyway. No, but that's not the kind of world that we live in. So the reality of it is that I got to give you the truth. And the truth is that we got to look out for our businesses, because you got to look out for your family, and you got to make sure that you don't get to zero. Because easily, if you're waiting on somebody else to save you, you could drown. So easily, if you feel like you are overwhelmed and you're wondering, like, what should I do? Like, JB kind of hit something, you need to get on my schedule. We need to talk that through. Do not allow yourself to lose everything. There's a point where your business has value. It's kind of like, when a person allows themselves to foreclose when they could have sold the house, but they just kind of got stuck and they didn't do anything, Well, that's where you also have to decide sometimes in business, like, is this where I sell? So these are the things to think about. And these are some, suggestions. And I hope that I just brought up, some ways that we can just protect ourselves. And even if you're working somewhere, These are some tips for you. Know your value. Think about where your job, where your position is going. A lady was telling me today, they've like stopped, like she's on salary, and because they're not as busy, they're considering considering asking her to switch to hourly. Isn't that something? And she's just supposed to be grateful. And they might even be getting a loan. It's at a financial institution. You need to think, like, we need to be careful, because these businesses are going to be cutting positions, trying to figure out how they can be most efficient, because I don't care what the headlines say. People are humans, and they are saying that the numbers are going up. And they keep saying, the government keeps saying, well, but we're not going to close everything down again. Well, they don't have to close everything down again. Maybe at some point people will say, I'm just not going in there because I'm going to protect myself. And you don't have to tell me that. You don't have to close it down. So if they're not closing, they don't have to close it down for you to go out of business. People don't just come running to your business just because you're not closed. It costs a lot of money to get somebody to come into the door of your business. And if you don't have that money, then they're going to go somewhere else, or they could be staying at home. So let's continue to pray about, what are our next steps? That's what we think through. But they do know, yes, they're just being condescending. Exactly. Mr. Bozeman says we must create our own system. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Mr. Bozeman says, which we had before integration. We have to. We have to. Solidarity is the key. Education equity for all young people, exactly. Corporations and banks fund political campaigns. You're right. As Andrea said, and it needs to stop. You're right. They do. And this is a political season. Let's be aware. But yes, customer acquisition can be expensive. Exactly. Trying to get them in the door. Get them in. It is. It really is. Yeah, a lot of times people think like, oh, like, just do something and people are just gonna, run to you. Like, no. Mr. Bozeman said Black Wall Street proved that we can do it. Yes. Yes. Your existence, Mr. Bozeman, proves that we can do it. Yeah, Jimmy says that's why being debt free is a chess move in life. Yes, it is. And we shouldn't have to be. But for me, I've found that is the only way, because there's so much as a business owner that I don't know that has helped me, and that I've always had to just be that way since, 2007, when I realized that you just don't know. But kind of from 1995 to 2007, it was just, you could easily, and I think there's a lot of young people in that mindset. I mean, think, when I started my business, I was in my 20s. So, they're saying there's like 1 million people, mostly young people, who are buying stocks every day, trading them more frequently than anything that we've seen in history. They're just buying in and out, but in and out, in and out, in and out, looking for opportunity, wasting money way too often. We've got to realize that there is a strategy to wealth development. There is a strategy to wealth development. But if we, continue to just be used, like, every free account is not a free account. And they think just because it says free or no commission trading, they really think it's free. We gotta look past the front page. Nobody is in business for you to play with their app. They're making money off your loss and your possible gain. But, when it's all said and done, we need to be really careful. So, yes, I feel that if we focus, but I sometimes, Jimmy, it's, sometimes things just have to be learned over time. Like, you're a grown man, Andrews, Mr. Bozeman's a grown man. Mr. Montgomery is probably the youngest among y'all, but he's old at heart, but that's just, that we know, that over time you realize that debt freedom is it. Like, chasing dollars and, every day switching from one idea to another, oftentimes makes everybody rich but you. We have to have a strategy to this thing. No. And why spend all of your savings on making someone else rich or chasing and supporting their dream? Why don't we invest in ourselves? Invest in you. Invest in you. Mm. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a good night. I could talk to y'all forever. I just feel your energy coming at me. Mr. Smith, you did a great job this weekend. Y'all did a great job. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there. This time, just woo, woo, woo. I had no idea I taught that long. I told Ms. Washington I was going to call her at 9 o'clock. I think I've been running 20 minutes late all day. I woke up 20 minutes late. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bozeman. I appreciate you all so much.